The British Driving Society was formed in 1957 to support and encourage passionate coachmen and women. And for members taking part in their annual meeting at the Royal Windsor Horse Show, it's like stepping back in time at an event that can best be compared to a classic car concours to Elegance.
We do this to keep history alive as much as anything, and driving is a very social sport and pursuit, more social than riding. There are no boundaries or barriers to age, to physical challenges, emotional or mental challenges, and to have that relationship with the horse where your only physical contact is through the reins and it's got to listen to your voice. It's a very, very special relationship. So we're on the last day of the Royal Windsor Horse Show, and we pinch ourselves very regularly to be in this wonderful park. We're in the shadow of the castle, and the meet's been taking place for nearly 60 years, so it's quite an integral part of the show. We have lots of people who enter. We've obviously had members of the royal family and people who work at the Royal Mews, and we've had some junior drivers, and really everybody is equally passionate about their horses and driving, because driving's not just popping on a saddle and a bridle and getting one horse ready. You've got to clean the carriage. The harness takes at least 3 hours to strip down and clean properly. There's so much work that goes into presenting your Sunday best turnout.
At just 14 years old, Molly Turner is the youngest driver taking part. And whilst it might be her first time at the show, she's keeping up a family tradition that goes back generations.
So as a family, we've been involved with Royal Windsor as volunteers since we think about 1981. It's been a very special occasion for the family. And it would have been my dad's 80th today. So we lost him a couple of years ago now, but it's really nice to be able to celebrate being back and using a vintage vehicle in his name. Last weekend, we had 3 generations and a godmother polishing everything to make sure it's ready. Molly has been into ponies since she was very small. However, when she was quite young, we had a degree of developmental delay. She was a child that struggled to walk, struggled to talk, and we needed to find something that she could be herself, make friends, but equally have a little bit more adult interaction than maybe you can just simply riding a ridden pony. Very gently, very slowly, she got into driving. And then aged 7, she joined the British Young Drivers and the BDS, and that has been the most fabulous grounding for her.
Today I'm managing the drivers. On my team I've got 2 very senior judges. They make sure that we sign off that everybody's clean, suitably turned out, and we must only have traditional type turnouts. We can have newly built carriages, so we can have new carriages that are built along traditional lines, but we don't have any carriage that pertains to a trade, and so they are traditional private type carriages.
The vehicle that I'm driving today is the Baker Filey Norfolk cart. The Norfolk cart is a 2-wheeled vehicle and it's a varnished wood, I'm told, was made in 1889. It's a vintage horse-drawn vehicle, a bit like a vintage car. You still have to maintain them, but the essence is obviously to keep them as traditional as possible.
Once safety inspections have been carried out, the participants head out for a 4-mile show drive around the private grounds of Windsor Castle. During this time, they're judged on the elegance of their turnout, with particular attention paid to the members' carefully chosen outfits.
The clothing for the gang today, we had little sister Rose on the back of the carriage, and she's a very keen pony club member, so it made sense to keep her in her pony club tweed. Molly's outfit, she started to get organised at the end of last summer. We wanted an outfit that was suitable for a young girl, but beginning to look glamorous and a little bit of feather that was also in keeping with the pony. And it's this mix of using old and new, but very much making sure that everybody looks the part for the main ring.
Horses really enjoy being driven. They've got a certain freedom about it, so they enjoy being as a single, but actually if they get to do it with their mates in a multiple alongside each other, or one in front of the other with a tandem, that's quite a natural instinct for them. So we feel as much as possible that we go with the horse and what it wants to do in terms of the harness that goes on it. Every part of harness, from the bit in the mouth to the blinkers over the eyes to where the harness is placed, that's been through generations, decades, centuries of knowledge. We talk about the emotional pressure points on the horse, and it's really important to understand that everything that's on the horse is functional. It's to keep the horse and everybody around safe.
My pony that I've got here today is Rowley. Rowley is a 14-2 traditional cob crossed with a Welsh. He's quite a stocky chap, but he's able to pull that vehicle quite easily, and I feel great up there sitting on the seat, and it's just me and Rowley showing what we can do and enjoying ourselves. I do have a disability to my left leg and my left side. The carriage driving sport as a whole, it's a sport where you're treated as an equal. It doesn't matter what path in life you come from, you're there for one another.
The lovely opportunity with driving is you sort of do need a family to make it work. So Morley has had her dad sitting as groom, so he sat next to her today. Equally, she had her sister sat behind her. And that's the lovely thing to be in a sport where you can all be together. So we're really, really proud. Every time she gets on that carriage, we're thrilled because it's showing that she's really, really pushing herself and moving beyond the original worries we had as a small child that she wasn't going to thrive. And she's absolutely thriving now.
Being the youngest town, a bit overwhelmed. We came around to the ring and then we set off for the drive. It was quite a long drive and my pony basically tried trotting all the way. My favourite bit of the day was driving Billy in the big main ring.
Prince Michael of Kent was our lead driver today with a lovely pair of the Windsor Greys. And so we drove up towards the castle, turned around, then down the long walk. And what was really special, we opened the security gates at the bottom and there were hundreds of members of the public that were able to get up close and personal, not just to the horses, but to members of the royal family as well. We had Prince Michael of Kent, and Lady Louise was behind him with a pair of fells, honouring the memory of her grandfather, Prince Philip, who used to drive a team of fells, and some of them are still on the go and being driven, which is lovely. My message is to really communicate with the wider public and people that perhaps aren't involved from the inside out like a lot of us are, is just that it's a really important sport and there's so much heritage, but there's also a great future. And with all the emotional well-being that being around horses brings to human beings, it's something that must always continue where possible.